What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I'm According to Woods, and he is former U of MMA champion Pius Ina Lobo, better known as Voodoomaximus. And yes, this is Voodoo in the Woods. Little later than what you were expecting, but we're here. We're in the house.
In
Right?
the wood.
Yeah.
We are in the wood.
I was
Let's
hoping
make it
like
happen.
if we could do like I'm wearing a Labatt blue, right? So I was hoping we could do like the in your house Canadian Stampede, my favorite Canadian WWF pay-per-view. Hell yes, right?
Yeah,
Right?
good old times.
I guess. But we don't have any WWF things, but we do have UFC
Hey,
Fight Night. Okay.
I do have one WWF thing. I am very, very impressed with Cody Rhodes, man. He's coming back with a
Oh,
vengeance.
hell yes.
He's so good, man.
He's tremendous.
He rocks the
And
mic, bro. He rocks the mic.
did you see that shit with him and Heyman?
Yes, that was beautiful.
That's a masterclass.
That was beautiful.
That goes right up. I mean, and again, like you can say like a lot of people are like, oh well, the bloodline, storyline. Like even Eric Bischoff, right, is saying it's better than the NWO and
I don't
everything.
know. I don't know.
He's in his to his credit, he's saying that it's more put together, right? Because NWO was kind of and this is the guy who fucking created it. So I mean, like, don't at me at E Bischoff, like but the theoretically, like we look back in nostalgia with like rose-colored glasses, hindsight 2020, and he is like, obviously he's not saying this, right? But like we look at NWO, the good shit, right? But like
Right.
fucking Virgil was a part of the NWO. Come on. That
Right.
wasn't
Hey,
like
but the whole NWO was just too sweet.
oh yes, I'm with that. Yeah. So I'm just saying, when shit is good, and when it isn't, but I mean, fucking McMax in the chat, so it's always fucking good when McMax there. And Voodoo looks like he like Rocky when he went and running. Fuck yes.
I need to start running again.
You actually look a bit like one of them what is it, the fucking Cobra motherfuckers in G.I. Joe?
Cobra Kai. Oh.
No, G.I. Joe. You remember them motherfuckers?
Oh, Cobra. Yeah. I'm down with those guys.
Yeah.
Those are my kind of guys right there.
Yeah, you kind of look like it. Like you
Those
got
are
the
my
fucking
kind of guys, man.
the martial arts shoes like that, and the fucking headband with the fucking hands or D eyes and shit like that.
Those are my kind of guys right there.
Oh yes. But fuck, I yes, like I'm digging the Cody, so Mania has 2 nights, right? And 2 nights in Inglewood. It's not fucking LA, it's not Hollywood. Theoretically speaking, WrestleMania 21, that was at the Staples Center, technically speaking, is closer to Hollywood than Inglewood would be.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. We've already had a Hollywood WrestleMania. Let Inglewood have its fucking day. Come on.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Yes.
Inglewood all day long.
Hell yes. And Adam's screen looks foggy. Yeah, because it's fucking cold as shit here. I don't know how it works in Celsius, but Jesus Christ. I'm on the ass end of the Hollywood sign, and literally it's snowing at the Hollywood sign.
That's crazy.
It's not supposed to do that.
That's crazy.
And Volk got screwed. Hell yes,
Volk,
he did.
Volk didn't get screwed. Volk screwed Volk.
Oh no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You know what? He will be the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Fucking A. Yeah, come on, dude. Like,
nah, Volk didn't get screwed, man. Volk got out MMA'd.
I know. I mean, that too.
Danny's know how to win matches. I give the first 3 rounds to Islam.
It's 100
100 Fahrenheit. That's not bad. That's good weather.
Yeah, dude, not cool. No, 100%. Yeah, I guess. He should have won. Well, also, McMac is Australian, total disclosure.
Yeah.
So fucking
Yeah. Yeah, he's
yeah.
not biased at all.
No, 100%, dude. It's like that fucking Era Hawani Tony Khan beef and shit, like unbiased journalism. Oh, really quick, can I get your take on the whole Tony Khan Era Hawani shit?
I'm sorry, there was motion at the front.
Okay. Big Mac said he's neutral, but like, what do you like? Do you have any?
First of all, I don't even know who the other guy is. I know Ariel Awani. I don't know who the other guy is. What's the
Tony
deal
Khan,
with those?
AEW?
No, I don't know him. What happened?
So, Ariel, okay, so first off, like, the kind of start of the beef, right, was I think MJF went on Ariel Hawani's MMA Hour, right?
Okay.
Like that was like theoretically the first shot,
Right.
if you're doing it in chronological order, because Tony got pissed because MJF didn't clear it with AEW people, right? So theoretically, that was like first shot, and that was also when like that whole like MJF CM Punk, like we didn't know if it was like real, like they were beefing, but we didn't know if it was real or fake or whatever. I want it to be real, like those two are two of my favorites, MJF and CM Punk or whatever. Then Ariel Hawani, almost like a year, I can't remember the timeline, but like, MJF comes back to AEW and what have you, and then Tony Khan goes on Ariel's show, and Ariel wants to fucking talk about the whole CM Punk, backstage fucking fight with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, that shit, right? And Tony Khan like fucking shuts down, and he's like, "Yep, whatever." Like one word answers, or like he was very like he didn't really give Ariel Hawani anything, right? Like, and then Ariel went and said like that was like one of the fucking, like even before he released it, he went on like the MMA part of MMA Hour. It was like, this is, I'm not even sure if I could fucking put this out, whatever, because it's just like, Tony Khan like within an hour just like being dismissive and just like, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. Turn into Wednesday night fucking Dynamite, Friday night Rampage. Like that was like the fucking hour, right? Then Ariel Hawani, and this is a thing that most people fucking forget, but Ariel Hawani wasn't hired by WWE. He was contracted to BT Sport over in the UK to do shit for the WWE. Right. The Clash of the Castle was like the big fucking thing. He flew over to Scotland and what have you, and represented BT Sport. That was when we got the, there was a bunch of them. Like I think they did Drew McIntyre. They did quite a few people, but that's when like we figured out what the fuck happened with Triple H and his heart, episode that he had that almost killed him, and we found out the extents of what that was. But that was Ariel Hawani via BT Sport, not MMA Hour, not whatever that was, and not WWE, right? So they're in Montreal, right, for the Elimination Chamber 1, as well as the Friday Night SmackDown right before, and I believe it was in the same arena. 2 nights, Friday SmackDown and then the Elimination Chamber. And they have Sami Zayn versus the Roman Reigns and everything, and the whole bloodline storyline, and is Sami going to win in Montreal and everything like that. And both on SmackDown as well as the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, basically what ends up happening is Ariel is in front row in the Bell Center in Montreal, and the SmackDown or whatever, Michael Cole goes like, oh, I can't remember the line, but something like, oh, like the unbiased journalism, blah blah blah, whatever. And then the next night at Elimination Chamber, Ariel is with fucking GSP, George St. Pierre, right?
Right.
And that whole deal. Tony fucking goes on Twitter like, fucking something about unbiased journalism, basically alluding to Ariel, being biased to the WWE and not to AEW, right? It even fucking shits on the great Tony Schiavone, one of my all-time fucking favorites, and it's just like, you're as legitimate as Tony Schiavone, and it's just like, how the fuck are you gonna bury, to me, one of the greatest all time, but also Tony Schiavone is on your fucking payroll, bro. Like there's for the first time ever in the last 24 months, or actually 12 months, AEW, I mean, the first ever Tony Schiavone figure has ever been released, and it's him of AEW. I'm just saying, so like, the fuck you're gonna bury your own, like, you're shitting on a guy who you think works for the WWE. He doesn't. He works for BT Sport, who has a working relationship with the WWE because they're the ones who aired the fucking what is it, the NXT UK and shit like that, right? So they have a working relationship with BT Sport, who Ariel works for them to do WWE shit, right? And then WWE fucking gives him comps for Montreal. I believe I know Ariel's from Canada, but I'm not sure if he's from Montreal specifically, but he's there. And on the second night, he's with arguably the greatest, like, I don't know, fucking luminary in sports from Montreal and GSP in terms of combat sports, right? Like, Montreal's got obviously Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but like GSP and the model Rick Martel, goddamn, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I'm just, I don't know, man. Like, and then Ariel had said some fucking backhanded shit. It's like, hey, you're a legend in my book, Schiavone. Don't listen to the Snowman. And people are like, oh, he's talking about coke and whatever. One thing that I didn't hear come up, right? You know, like the talk of the town, especially in the wake of the passing of Lisa Marie Presley, right?
Right.
The Elvis movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the deal. The Tom Hanks character, who is supposed to be, Colonel Parker or whatever the fuck, right? He keeps on talking to Elvis in the fucking movie about the snowman. You got to give him the snowman, the razzle dazzle and shit like that. Was Ariel alluding to that? That's one thing that most people did, or the booger sugar. And there's been allusions to, Tony Khan's erratic behavior and whatever. I don't fucking know, I don't know. It's just weird. And again, like, Ariel has a certain reputation in the MMA sphere. Some of it great, some of it not so great. And I was basically saying, like, hey, if you loved like Ariel in the MMA sphere, for those same reasons, the wrestling people are starting to love Ariel in the pro wrestling sphere, right?
Yeah.
But if you hated Ariel or couldn't stand Ariel in the MMA sphere, and you don't like him right now for what he did in his tweet in the fucking pro wrestling sphere, it's the same. MMA fans have figured out about Ariel, and not just fans, but insiders and fighters have found out about Ariel Helwani, good and bad, for the last 10 years. So it ain't nothing new to me. So, I'm just saying. And Guru the Pig, what up, boys? Did you see the Dustin slap the Connor? Oh, Dustin Poirier slapped the shit out of the Connor fan, saying your wife was in my DMs. I mean, that's foul as fuck, and the homeboy deserved
to stay
to
out
slap.
the DMs, man. Tell her to stay out the DMs.
So again, I'm not a fan of Dustin Poirier, right? So
he's doing better.
I'll
be honest, he's doing better.
Doing
better. He used to talk all that smack about, oh, it's gonna be me, man. I'm not gonna perform. He realizes there's no money in not performing. If you're not performing, you're not gonna make money. Now he's starting to talk. He's talking smack, and now he's in the news. When you're in the news, the UFC is gonna notice, and when they notice, you get a fight, possibly a title fight. So now he's up there in the talks against Usman, not Usman, the Russian fella.
Makachev?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've heard his name called.
I could give a shit about Dustin Poirier. I'm sorry. Like Connor was right about that swamp, whatever. Again, I hate to get into like beefs and shit, right? So like the whole
That's
thing,
where the money's at.
the whole thing started, right? You remember Connor and Poirier won, right? It was all fucking but it was all buddy and all that shit. We saw like the not fucking notorious Conor McGregor, like he grabbed a bottle of Dustin's hot sauce and all like.
Oh, that's the second fight.
Oh, was that the second fight?
Yeah. Connor knocked him out years back.
Yeah. Okay.
At 145.
So the most recent one. Yeah, the most recent one. Mm-hmm. And that happened in Abu Dhabi. Wait, Fight Island, right? That second one. The second one.
I don't remember where. It might have been New York. Was it New York?
Because Connor breaking his leg in the third one, right?
Yes.
That's okay. Okay. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of events. So I'm sorry. I apologize for not getting it in chronological order. But yeah. Anywho. So the thing about it is Dustin Poirier was pretty hard in the paint. Don't fucking like. I'm a real champ, blah, 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 whatever. But then you fucking you take a money fight rather than a title fight that, fucking weighs more in your longevity, right?
That was a smart thing to do.
It was a smart thing to do,
he ended
but
up
it's abandoning of
later.
Principles. He was hard in the paint. Oh, I fucking hate Connor because you whatever, and all that shit, and nobody was fucking listening. That's fine. No, but that's the thing. Don't go hard in the paint. If anything, right? Just don't. If you don't fucking know, don't go hard in the paint on something. You base your whole fucking, the ethics, the way that you live your life, and everything, like all that shit. The principles that you abide by with your wife, and what you teach your children by, and then you fucking do a 180 when Connor comes.
Hey, but if you remember, he took our advice. We advised that dude to take the damn money fight, win the money fight, and then go get a title fight.
I'm not mad.
It worked out.
I'm again abandoning principles.
His mouth more. He needs to shut his mouth more and get with the program. You know what I mean? That's what he needs to do. He needs to get with the program. If he gets with the program more, then we won't have things like this to say. I believe he's starting to, turn a new leaf, and he's getting with the program.
But see, that was the deal with like Connor or charismatic talkers. Like now we're seeing of Cody Rhodes, and who should face Roman, Cody or Sammy? I
Cody.
Still say, Cody for sure. But
Cody should take the belt from him.
Yeah, but the thing about it is like you had this big thing in Montreal, like for Sammy to get as hot as he did, right?
Sammy's
You're not
gonna.
I don't think you could get that again. That was. But then again, what does a Sammy title run look like? We had Kofi Mania, right? And then that went fuck all, right? Like, Kofi with everything that he is in terms of athlete and his longevity in the WWE, overcoming Randy Orton when Orton, fucking. Talk shit about him about being too stiff. Like that was like 15 fucking years ago, man. Like, and he got it, but then what? And then they gave the fucking title to Big E, but they was in a big fucking push. Like, I'm just saying, like, what does a Sammy title run look like? And
he's not quality to me. He's good, but he's not quality.
And there were so many other times where you could have put I don't know, man. Like the whole bloodline, and I understand how people love it, right? But like when you've been given chicken shit for like the whole run of Vince. Let's just say since Raw went to 3 hours, right? That was like fucking mid 2000s. That was like 2007, 6 or 7. Like
Hey,
that was right around like when my son was born, right?
let me
So,
let,
go ahead.
let, let me tell you like this, man. I didn't know who Sami Zayn was until the Bloodline.
Okay, I mean, and that's fair, but I don't see anybody wearing fucking Sami Zayn fucking shirts, nor Roman Reigns or Bloodline shirts when I walk right down the street. At the height of fucking wrestling, you couldn't go anywhere and not see a little kid fucking go
NWO baby,
NWO DX,
Wolfpack.
do the fucking cross chops, the fucking two sweets, the Austin middle fingers. Like when it was great, it was great. And of course, you could say like media's changed. There's like, you know, every streaming service, every fucking thing or whatever. So like my kid, like I don't. He's in the whole world of it himself that I don't know. But I talked to another 15-year-old that likes fucking MMA and pro wrestling, and they're into that shit. And like the worlds don't. There's nothing that unites, right? There's not a Ninja Turtles that everybody's fucking watching. Some people like wrestling, some people like MMA, some people like this, that, whatever. And there's like 100 million fucking things that you could like that has its own subgenre and your own Reddit thread and shit like that. So it's like I don't know. I don't know. It's there. I've been waiting to get in here. Let me in, sister. Yeah. What's up, good sister? I'm just saying. I'm here. What's up? Glad to have you. Glad to have you.
Welcome home.
Yes, absolutely. You are home. And I truly believe that the UFC is missing that flamboyant hood fighter straight out the projects. When will Dana bring in a fighter like Mike Tyson, Mayweather, Tank Davis, and some damn culture? And I think they try to do it with fucking Greg Hardy. That was it. That I mean, what you're like if you're thinking like fucking Clubber Lang, right? That was it. And theoretically speaking, right? You could say that John Jones is it, but John Jones isn't.
He speaks too well.
Yeah,
John
he's
Jones
not
speaks too well.
right, and he's not a UFC creation. They promoted the fuck out of him. He's arguably one of the greatest of all time, right? The only thing that defeats John Jones is fucking John Jones, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: here's a guy who stepped in on short notice to fill in for his then teammate Rashad Evans, right? His title shot. Nobody thought he was fucking gonna win. He fucking wins the title and goes on to one of the greatest title runs in combat sports history. The only times that he's been dethroned is when they had to strip him of the title for things that happened outside of the cage. And then the asterisks of the Matt Hamill fight, right? Like, that fucking 12, shitty, weird, disqualification and what have you, right? But that's that, like theoretically speaking, there hasn't been a fight, even like the Dominic Reyes where he didn't look great, right? He didn't look great, but he was still fucking John Jones. He beat Daniel Cormier twice on coke. This is him saying this. Come on, like what the fuck? Gustafsson went on fucking Rogan for fucking 3 hours. And you're like, oh, I saw some things, and I really know how to beat John Jones. Fucking 3 hours on Joe Rogan, and he beat the brakes off of fucking Gustafsson worse than the fucking first time. It wasn't even fucking close. They moved the entire fucking pay-per-view for a picogram from fucking Nevada, tax-free state, to fucking California, one of the highest tax rates in fucking the contiguous United States. Right?
Amanda Nunes didn't like that one.
Hell no. She fucking is like the fucking car that I was going to buy my wife. Can't buy that shit no more. Poha. Fucking.
Shama.
Oh, man. Oh, shit, man. See, this is why I can't anything else, right? Because like MMA and pro wrestling is just like like a fucking the homie George Ramosa of the Wrestling Chatter is like, wait, You can't say there's too much wrestling, there's too much MMA. It's like fuck, just if you follow just UFC, Bellator, WWE, AEW. There's like
That's a full-time job.
That's a full fucking time job. So if I don't know Jimmy Random Fuck out of Las Cruces, New Mexico, I'm sorry, man. I don't. Oh man, I don't know. And the UFC, that desperate for a new superstar that they're gaslighting the fans into a Sugar Sean. Yeah,
Sugar Sean ain't hood, but I like his style.
There's
nothing hood about him, but I like his style. You know, he understands the game. He understands. For sure. You got to have mic skills. He studied the greatest. He studied Conor, and he's following the Conor blueprint his own way. You know, he's doing the little 6'9" thing, which is good. You know, he's a 6'9" of MMA, but he's winning.
That's like the sexual position. That's what I feel. It's like a bad 69. It's a fucking really horrible 69. It's very like Sugar Sean O'Malley is the worst 69 ever. Like with teeth and your giblets get fucking like you got ran through a fucking what is it? A wood chipper.
He's the number one contender.
Oh God, of what? Like the I just actually
135-pound division. He's the number
I actually
one
saw a dude. And when you think about that, that's the bantamweight, right? Who's the fucking all the wars that fucking Faber went through, right? Dominic Cruz, fucking Cody Garbrandt. Just in like the last
man. Next generation.
Okay.
Next generation.
The motherfucker that his leg was all fucked up and homeboy tried to do a takedown.
Next generation.
Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah. Next generation.
I'm still on him for fucking beating Terry on a fucking contender.
These are the kids that grew up in the gym and learned everything at once, rather than Fabers that went to wrestling over there and the taekwondo over there and the boxing over there. He's one of the first generation or second generation of kids that are going out there with the whole package, you know. He's only getting better and better, man. Give the boy some time. He's going to impress you sooner or later.
First off, the total package is fucking Lex Luger. You get that right now. Okay? Torture rack everyone in here. Whatever. No, but like Sean O'Malley is the first generation of kids whose parents thought Lil Wayne was the greatest rapper of all time and drank scissor, and they did the fucking 69 with their giblets getting all wrecked and shit like that, and out comes Sean O'Malley. That's what I say. Like Sean O'Malley's a nuisance, man. Like he's a nuisance, right? Like got homeboy, the one that fought Vince Cachero, that trains out of him, Casey Kenny. Right. And said all that fucking sexist, misogynistic shit on the fucking podcast, and like almost like what's Casey Kenny doing now? Like that's a former LFA champion who, for the title, beat fucking Vince Cachero, right? You know how badass Vince Cachero is.
Vince is badass,
and everybody should know Vince Cachero is an anomaly. That's a
badass Hawaiian.
Yeah, and went to the UFC and was like, "Fuck it, it's not what I'm. Whatever, I'm out." And living his life in fucking Colorado. So shout out to Vince Cachero. But yeah, man, like I don't know, man. Like I maybe I'm just the old guy in the room. Like I just like don't get the fucking weird hair and the stupid tattoos and nothing against tattoos. If you fucking like if you get tatted by like Mr. Cartoon and shit like that, or like whatever the fuck, like good on you, right? But like if you're what's the guy? The fucking he sings the song The Circles or whatever, but he's got the fucking Stay Tired. Oh, Post Malone.
Oh,
when I heard about Post Malone, I thought, you know, fucking Carl Malone, right? Because he's the postman, right? Postman Carl Malone, right? I thought that was that guy. I was like, he was like Carmelone's son. And when I saw that fucker, and I was like, he looks like any, I guess, homeless person. And then when I like, oh, I like that song Circles. I didn't even know what the motherfucker looked like, right? And I was like, okay. And my litmus test about like if a song is good or not, I will, use YouTube and go and I'll check out a live performance, right, of that artist. And if it's real instruments, I'm in, right? My dad was a musician and whatever, so I always loved live music. I saw that motherfucker. It was a concert footage from him in Ontario, which is like, 90 minutes outside of LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
12,000 seat arena, right? And everybody's going wild for him. There's no fucking band. It's just him. Not even like a fucking DJ. Just him on a backing track. And people are just whatever. And it's just him. Fucking shitty ass like hockey jersey looks. Looked like he fucking jumped out the couch and then went and performed. And I was like, you got 12,000 people to fucking see a guy with a microphone? I could go into any random fucking karaoke night at any time and see 80 Post Malones, which that's not a good thing. So I don't get it, man. Yeah, and put the title on Ryback. Feed me less. That's what I'm gonna say. Feed me less. So here you go. And I'm right here. Thank you, 100%. Considering all the domestic abuse and police interactions, are UFC fans in general rooting a dominant John Jones win or an epic Cyril Gane win? Where Jones goes down face first. If
I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's weird. I just think. Okay, so I guess we'll tackle the horrible thing first, right? Is the domestic violence deal, right? And it's a weird thing. Like some people justify, like the things that people justify is crazy to me, right? How you could be like whatever you believe and everything like that and the right and the whatever, and you're like and you might even have whatever your belief system on a tattoo, even though the belief system is like you shouldn't do that shit to your body, but you're gonna get it anyway, right? So but you can justify it in your mind because you think you're doing good, right? And then like, oh, I would never do that to my wife, but then like, oh, let's go to a fucking UFC fight where the fucking president in the last calendar year was caught on camera slapping the shit out of his wife and co-promoting a fucking slap fight league. So again, and I'm not saying I'm, like again, I'm not taking a side one way or another. Do what you want. That's if you live here in the United States, it's kind of your right, theoretically. Yeah, as long as you don't fucking do something or kill somebody or whatever the fuck. I'm paraphrasing the Constitution, but I'm just saying, like, don't act like a dumb fuck and whatever, right? But if you like dumb fucking shit, God, you guys have seen my Instagram. I love dumb fucking shit. I'm the first fucking guy. That's probably why I like fucking combat sports. Because I don't know what the fuck, like, whatever, right? So do you. But the fact of the matter is, like, when you supposedly have some sort of moral compass, moral high ground, and then all this shit, you were just saying, right, about John Jones, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he, was like too clean cut, too well spoken, all that stuff. Right? Mm-hmm. And then he does all the shit that he does. Mm-hmm. But also, I also believe in the complexity of people, right? And people can change, people can grow, people, whatever. You're not going to be, John Jones of 2012 for the rest of your life, right? Mm-hmm. You can make make it up. But also, if you're gonna get all fucking preachy on me, like Dana White does, like Vince McMahon does, like all these, any president, right? Any prime minister, anyone, doesn't matter what, conservative, Republican, doesn't, we're here in the United States, we've only got two parties. We're like the only known fucking, civilized, union that only has two fucking parties. The reason why there's more parties everywhere else is because everybody gets represented theoretically a little bit better, right? So I'm just saying, like, if you want John Jones to win, amazing, right? Whether it be a stellar acumen, right? Whether it's a freak show, like, oh, I saw him at light heavyweight. What the fuck is he going to do at heavyweight, right? Gone, right? Like we don't really know Gone, right? Like, Gone, and some of those fucking, like, UFC, what is it? The embeddeds and shit like that. I think it was the fight with Francis. He looked just like dorky, and I don't know if it's
he's the big kid.
Yeah, and the fucking tattoo's weird. He's got literally the Batista tattoo, but Batista has it in his navel, which that's another thing, right? And if who the fuck am I going to tell Dave Batista what the fuck to get over his navel? Not going to do it. Like, there's a running joke about, like, how big is Batista's? Oh, well, R.I.P. Jerry Jarrett. But yeah, like, fuck, man. I don't know. Do you is what I'm saying. I'm going to give you my opinion. It doesn't have to be yours. And I'm going to agree. You could give me the same thing, right? 3 years apart. Ask me the fucking same question. I could guarantee you that I'm going to have a different answer than the previous. Why? Because I would like to think in 3 years that I've changed and evolved and I grew and everything like that. So, like, right now we're like this like weird, I don't know, cancel culture. I hate saying that because it's a buzzword or whatever the fuck. But, like, theoretically speaking, right? When people are digging up like old tweets from you from like 6 years ago, or like, it happened to me on the book face, right? I posted a picture of this guy wearing a fucking mask as a dick hammock, right? I posted it when we're all locked down. I didn't think anything of it. My fucking page got blocked 2 years after the fact. They retroactively were like, nope, this is misinformation and shit like that. And I was like, what is that? It's a mask.
Yeah, it wasn't woke enough.
I don't. And again, wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Wear it where you want. You wear it on your face. Wear it on your genitalia. I don't give a shit. Do it. Vaccine. Don't vaccine. Don't give a shit. Do you. Like, just do you. Do that and whatever. So again, for anybody, that you loves John Jones, fuck yeah. Everybody that can't stand John Jones, fuck yeah too. Everybody that loves Cyril Gane, fuck yeah. Anybody that don't like Cyril Gane, fuck yeah. Right on. Yeah. How's Bischoff doing? By all intents and purposes, the allergies are kicking his ass. He went down to Florida. McMack, I kind of found out the same way you did, bro. So yeah, but he's fucking Eric Bischoff. He's fucking powering it through, man. He's a badass. He's back and better than ever. I'm just saying.
That's right.
And are you guys interested in the eventual findings from the James Krause scandal? Schaub alluded to more major fallout on the JRE fight companion that resembles a pyramid scheme. Okay. I guess we're not talking about the fucking card at all. We'll probably talk about like a couple fights or whatever. No. Okay, let's go. Brewer the Pig, we got you. Okay, so, we all kind of know what's going on with James Krause, right?
Right.
Okay, so James Krause, he's a UFC fighter. At the time of the findings out, he was both a UFC fighter and a contracted fighter, whatever that means, because you're still an independent contractor, right? and also coach. He ran the what? God, is it the Summit? It was in Kansas City. He ran a gym where Megan Anderson and what's the fucking guy? Oh God, what's his name? Zach Cummings. Zach Cummings.
Yes, a lot of good guys are there.
Yeah, a lot of Cuban Missile Crisis. Marquez, the one that fucking asked Miley Cyrus to be the fucking Valentine's Day. He's out of there, right? So, and that's just the UFC talent. We're not talking like James Krause is coached in Invicta, in Bellator, in like every fucking major promotion known to man. Aside from like one championship, that's like Krause has done it. Glory MMA, yes, 100%. Yeah. So the fact of the matter is, he was basically betting, and also had like paid memberships to like get his picks on shit and whatever. Well, a lot of the things that were happening to Krause and what he was doing, right, was if like what Pete Rose did in betting in games that got him barred from baseball. Not like the MLB fucking barred his ass. Like no Hall of Fame inductions, no nothing. Like Pete Rose is fucking extracted from the fucking annals of baseball history, right? So to me, obviously it's not the same, right? But the fallout is essentially Pete Rose of 2022, right? Like disgraced, right? And the UFC basically creating the edict that if you fight under Glory MMA or coached by James Krause, well, you are away from the UFC. You're released. So that's kind of fucked up, because like you got people there. You're a coach, right? There's something that you and Zach Cummings did to fucking prepare fighters to where they're fighting in the highest of levels, right? And that's an amazing thing, right? The fact that you're like, I think only Faber, right? Who else can you think of that fucking coached fighters at the same time that
fought.
they fought
in
the highest levels?
He was definitely the poster child for that.
Yeah. So like, we're not taking away from the acumen that that James Krause has done, but we're hearing that James Krause is a fucking millionaire. He doesn't need a fight, right? You remember somebody told us that, right? And we're like, how the fuck? Now it's starting to make sense, right? Now it's starting to make sense. So, in terms of like, first off, like Brendan Schaub. Brendan Schaub, he charts like Ariel Helwani with me, right? Some things awesome, like to me, he was a guy that I would tell fighters, right, when I would interview them, or like, you should start, if I saw something or whatever, and not to say that I'm like, oh, whatever, like I'm not the highest or whatever, but like if I saw somebody that had something that can do what I do, fucking do it, right? And Brendan Schaub for me was that guy for so many years that I'd point to and like, look at that guy. He, played football his entire life, right? High school, NCAA, right? Had a cup of coffee in the big time, as the late great Macho Man Randy Savage would say, right? And then got into the Ultimate Fighter. He was on that Kimbo Slice team and shit like that, right? And like at the time, he was at his peak. He was what top 10, heavyweight in the UFC, right? So you can't do that without having some sort of insane drive and shit like that, right? But I mean, there's a lot of shit about Schaub too. There's a lot of shit about Schaub, and like, what are his comedy specials funny? Maybe not my cup of tea. Gringo Poppy definitely wasn't, and I hate to sound like I'm piling on, but I wanted to see, like, because I heard from Rogan, and total disclosure, dig Rogan, don't like everything Rogan does. You know, like, but you like I don't even want to say like Mount Rushmore, but like the people that I look up to in short order is like Rogan, me and Gene Okerlund, Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, you know, and you're like, oh, where's the people of color in that deal? Well, you got to ask the powers that be, man. That's all I'm saying, because they're out there. They're out there, you know. But but those are the people who I listen to that I got confident in terms of being able to do this. Right. Those are the people that, you know, as a kid, listening to them in different iterations or whatever. I was just talking to my wife about this. I stuttered. I had weird accents that would be from the place before. So like I had a San Francisco accent in Fiji, and then a Fijian accent back in San Francisco, or San Rafael, Marin County. And then I had a Marin County accent when we moved to fucking South Bend. And then a fucking South Bend accent when we moved to Las Vegas. And a Las Vegas accent when we went to New Mexico. New Mexico accent when I went to Georgia. And a Georgia accent when I came to Inglewood, California in 95. So never really fit in, and especially developing a voice, right? So with that all being said, it was the guys that I just mentioned, right, that helped me out with the stutter, that helped me out kind of figure out my vocal tone and everything like that, right? So again, you know, Shab I was excited for, because like Rogan was just like, we know that episode, you know, like, you know, Shab was talking his shit, like I can beat this guy. No, you can't. Rogan's like, no, you can't. It's like, whatever. It's like, bro, like, you're never gonna be an elite fucking fighter, bro. Like, and he did that out of love. You know, maybe he could have, you know, said it a little easier or whatever. But again, I don't know the nature of Joe Rogan and Brendan Schaub when that happened and whatever, you know. So who am I to say, right? Like, whatever. Yeah, so I mean, in this particular instance, like the fact that Schaub is saying it, Schaub does know stuff. Can Schaub blow shit out of proportion? Absolutely. Can Schaub just fucking stir shit? Absolutely. I mean, but again, I don't know Schaub. I know people that know him, and it like there are some consistencies about like the person. If you don't like Schaub for reasons, those again, it's like the fucking Ira Hawani deal all over again, right? If you like fucking Schaub for the reasons that you like Brendan Schaub, it's consistent with the person that he is on camera, off camera. So if you like him, you like him. And the things that aren't great about Brendan Schaub, you don't have to look far for shit to throw at Schaub or whatever. So it just like him saying that, you know, and you got to remember, right? So on the JRE Fight Companion, right? That was this, you know, the Australian pay-per-view, because like Rogan doesn't do international shit anymore, right? So you know, he sat back, and it was the Fight Companion crew, right? I mean, when they were here in LA, you know, obviously the main four is Rogan, Eddie Bravo, Brendan Schaub, and Brian Callen, right?
Right.
And again, any one of those four dudes, individually and collectively, if you like them, you like them. You don't, right? But they hadn't done one in a while, right? And yes, you know, you could say like Rogan fucking, you know, went out to fucking Texas, and the rest of the three are still here in LA. Yeah, I mean, that's that or whatever. But you know, there was an incident, and I think it's in Talk to Death, but like there's an incident with like Bobby Lee and Bobby Lee's girlfriend, Bobby Lee, the comedian from, you know, Mad TV, and you know, you've seen him in, like, I can't open up an app like and watch a show with my wife and not see Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee was in this fucking David Spade movie that had Roman Reigns in it. Bobby Lee was in the fucking Reservation Dogs, a show that I love on fucking FX and Hulu and shit like that. He's in that. Like you don't have to look like when you look at Bobby Lee's career, like he's one of the most accomplished motherfuckers, in comedic history, Hollywood history and shit like that. He's just like, there he is. Even if you don't know him by name, but there was this shit that happened with his longtime girlfriend who he has a podcast with, and there's been hour-long fucking like breakdowns of that whole fucking shit and Schaub's involvement and whatever. So if you go to that, whatever. But like the fact that it's coming from Schaub, I'm like, I don't know. But what we know, right, about the Krause situation, right? Like we were told like 2 years ago that Krause is a millionaire, right? Okay. And then we found out this shit. So like, it's like, okay, so how? Right? Because like when you look at James Krause's fucking fighter contract, there's not millions there, right? Krause was never a top, not even 15 fighter, maybe.
He's a thousandaire.
Right. So there's that. Then, okay, he's a coach. Well, you're thinking, like a lot of the fighters that he coached had worse contracts than he did. I mean, not like worse contracts, but like they were lower on the UFC pecking order, right? So I like, let's say like Julian Marquez's fucking, contract to James Krause's contract. There's maybe 5,000 to 10,000 more for Krause, when Krause fights versus Marquez or whatever, and you're taking like 10% of that, like, yeah, like I was just trying to fucking like, how is he a millionaire when this? I didn't get it. I didn't get it, but now it all makes sense, And again, the UFC knew about it until something happened, right? Because because theoretically speaking, right, UFC is partnered with DraftKings, right?
Right.
And it's I think it was something along the lines with DraftKings and DraftKings trying to expand into states that don't usually allow online gambling, right? And then people were like, Krause, what the fuck, dude? Right? Because it made it look bad. But people knew about Krause. Dana White knew about Krause. Krause wasn't shy about, charging his, like, what is it, the Discord subscriptions or whatever the fuck, to find out his trading tricks and shit like that or whatever, who he picks versus who he doesn't pick and everything like. And I don't gamble, so like I too rich for my blood is what I'm saying. So I don't know, man. Like I don't know.
Hey, look, the bottom line, the case is still in courts. Once the courts runs through the verdicts and all that, then we can have a full story. And
But I mean,
right now, so far, it's just speculation.
No, but I mean, the UFC taking the stance that it did, I think that's more than speculation. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
It's precaution. They're supposed to do that as a corporation.
But
to make moves like that.
But again,
but then if he goes to court and he's found innocent, then all the stops will be pulled, and he'll be back, and his team will be back.
Yeah,
with an apology.
Okay, yes, but like if you're fucking Julian Marquez, if you're like some of these guys, if you're James Krause himself, right? He's in his mid to late 30s,
right?
So if you take 2 years, I mean, and we found this out with the Josh Barnett scenario. this most recent Josh Barnett deal, right? Where he was like, "Fucking USADA's bullshit. Like, there's no way, right?" And we found out 2 years after the fact that Barnett was right. USADA was on some bullshit and whatever. But again, you're Josh Barnett. You're in your early 40s, right? Like you were in your late 30s, early 40s, and then this fucking 2-year ban. Look at the fucking Diaz brother. 5-year ban on marijuana. Now fucking UFC has every fucking weed and fucking CBD sponsor. They got high rollers where you fucking smoke and kickboxing and jiu-jitsu high. Right? But they banned fucking Nate. What was it? Was it Nick or Nate?
Nate.
No,
Nick.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, it's just like, again, that's what I'm saying about like the finding ways to justify shit and everything like that. People will find a way to justify whatever the fuck they do. So if you dig it, you dig it. If you don't, you don't. Yeah. It's and I'm not here to judge you. Fuck it. Like I'm gonna tell you what my thoughts are if you ask for me. But like, And how was after 3? I think Mr. Bischoff isn't happy. I wouldn't say that. I just think the allergies. My allergies are fucking kicking my ass right now. So I'm like, ugh. Yeah. And Habib. Yeah, Habib. That's they're
nothing to say.
Yeah. I don't want to end up in a fucking ditch somewhere. So I'm gonna refrain.
Do nothing. Khabib will do nothing.
Yeah. I'm gonna refrain.
He's busy making money right now.
Yeah, he is. Oh yes. I guess anything that you're looking forward to in this UFC card. Well, first off, I guess card 7, and no disrespect to anyone else, but as it stands right here, it's Eric Ghost Pepper Gonzalez, 14-7 against the 7-0 Trevor Peek, right?
Okay.
Fuck. Eric Gonzalez is one of the reasons why I am where I am today. Filming him alongside Bosun Wang. I'm sorry. Back in my it was like literally the first thing that I did, and shot some shit with Ghost Pepper for Combate Americas. Now it's Combate Global. But that's how I started in the fucking business. It's so I'm not gonna you're not gonna find me talking shit about Ghost Pepper or picking against him. That is a good brother. So
don't worry, man. Don't worry. I'll do that for you, man.
Okay.
I'll do that for you. I'll go ahead and pick Trevor Peek.
Okay. What is it about Peek that gets it for you? I mean, I'm looking at his record, and
he's undefeated. 2, he's got a plethora of first-round knockouts.
Yeah.
Karma Worthy has gone to sleep due to this guy.
Yeah.
And we know Karma Worthy,
Yeah.
And a lot of first-round knockouts. He's not going to be an easy fight. He's lost before in the amateurs, but not as a professional. Ghost Pepper is in for a fight. Big fight. And he's going to have to win this one to stay in the company.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I agree, but I'm still rolling with my fucking dude, Ghost Pepper.
That's your boy. That's your boy. Yeah. It's worthy of 50-50 split, no doubt.
Yeah, man. I dig him. His family, his fiance might be his wife now. I mean, it's been a while. The lockdown shit was weird, so I don't know where everybody's in their life right now. But I just hope the best for him. So yeah, absolutely. What else do you see? Anything else? I mean, I like the fucking the All Hail Haley Cowan fight too, because I think this is her promotional debut, but she's one of those Invicta standouts, man. LFA standouts.
I was definitely going to pick her to win this fight. She's more even though they have the same number of fights, but I believe Haley is bringing more to the table, and the clinch game and the ground game is going to be crucial. When I say ground, I mean a wrestling game. So
Mhm.
expect Haley to bring that good old American wrestling
Yeah.
and control the match and take the round in 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those who don't know, she is fighting the Argentinian Eileen Perez, who's 7-2. Obviously, Voodoo alluded to it; like they have the same amount of fights. But yeah, I'm picking Haley Cowan as well.
Yeah.
But just a kind of a funny story. The basically her fight with Kelly Skittles Clayton for LFA. I believe that was LFA 91.
Hmm.
So, by all intents and purposes, Kelly Skittles Clayton was brought in just to be a, basically, what do they call it? A fucking punching
A
bag?
test dummy.
Yeah, crash test dummy, right? Until I think it was even I can't remember who was on the call, but whoever was commentating that fight saw Kelly Clayton's corner and was like, oh, like this ain't gonna be a fucking easy fight. And Kelly Clayton basically came away with the win when she and didn't fight for the LFA again because like
Mm.
they were trying to push Haley, and she basically fucked up that plan, right?
Mm.
So there's that. That's just a little bit of a tidbit, and if you want more on that, you can go to the According to Woods YouTube page because I talked to Kelly Skittles Clayton about that exact fight. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else. La, 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 la.
Hey, that next
Obvi-
fight, I got that Aliev, Nurio Aliev,
he
Eagle. I
is
got him.
18 an 8-0 Tajik Eagle is what he holy shit, he's fighting from Tajikistan.
He's got
Uh,
that Russian combat sambo.
yeah, man.
Anybody doing that's got my vote.
Okay, and obviously he's fighting the former uh, Titan FC champion is Rafael Alves, who's 20-11. That's
Right.
literally 31 fights in his professional
True.
career. That's a
True.
motherfucker. But yeah,
True.
Murillo Aliev.
He
I'm gonna
will
go with
he
you on
will
that
be
one too.
out he will be out wrestled and he will be done.
Okay,
Bottom line. Yeah.
100%. So 12-3, Joe Selecki versus 17-5, Carl Deaton the third. Who you got?
This Carl fella, Deaton the third, he's got cool paint on his face and all, but I just don't know anyone he's fought. But the other guy, Joe Selecki, I know very well. So the burden of proof is on this fella here. He has to come out and really show something. Until he shows something, I won't be picking Carl Deaton, Michael Keaton wannabe Batman.
I
I
think
won't be
that
picking this guy. I got Joe Selecki in 15.
yeah. I mean, to be clear, when you look at I'm not even. I mean, not to say that I won't say his nickname. I just can't pronounce it, and it seems like he's of native culture. So I'm not gonna, shit on that
Anishinaba.
at all. His stuff
Anishinaba.
looks tribal esque, right? So not gonna shit on the dude's
Las
culture.
Vegas, Nevada. Fighting out of Las
Yeah,
Vegas, born in Michigan. They got any natives in Michigan, brother?
yeah, I actually do. Yeah, I mean, when you look at that, okay, so obviously Michigan, Wisconsin, different, right? But Milwaukee, and this is in bullshit. So you remember Wayne's World? And they were like talking about Milwaukee, and fucking Wayne goes like, "Oh, it was actually fucking, uh, you know, Milwaukee, the fucking native chief and whatever. No,
Oh,
that's legit.
really?
That's legit. So
Oh,
that eastern seaboard. I mean, not, I would
right,
say Midwestern, right? With the Great Lakes and shit like that. You're gonna
right.
get a lot of native. You're gonna get a lot of Eastern European, right? In like the Polish and the Germans and even Italians and um, like fucking Dearborn, Michigan is like all uh, Iranian, or like Middle
Mm-hmm.
Eastern, right? They
Mm-hmm.
pretty much speak Farsi. That's why the Sheik sold out Kobo Hall for fucking forever until he didn't.
Mm.
Iron Sheik, I don't know if he still lives there, but he raised his kids there forever, and that's
Hey,
where.
all I know is this fella, the third, he's gonna bring whatever he's got, and it's not gonna be enough because Joe Selecki has UFC experience. He's been in the
Yeah.
UFC for a while, and I'm putting my money on Joe Selecki. Even though I
Okay.
don't gamble, I will gamble my money on Joe.
All right. Yeah, I mean, nothing against Carl Deaton. Obviously, I respect his culture, whatever that culture may be. But yeah, Selecki, man. Fuck, we've talked
Straight
about
up.
him enough. We know about Joe Selecki. So, oh god, I've sounded like the vice president. The border. I know about the border. We've been to the border. I'm not at the border. Jesus.
Oh
I
my
I
goodness.
did that. I'm sorry, folks. Anywho, we've got inner Carl Johnson 13-3 going up against Odie Osborne 11
Mm-hmm.
and 5. Um, I actually I'm torn because we've seen both of these guys, kind of ply their trade in the UFC, and
Right.
uh, theoretically have. I mean, Odie's got a couple more fights than Charles, but also Charles has a lot more wins theoretically. But I mean, you can argue that Odie, the Jamaican sensation, has faced tougher competition. So
Well, they're number 21 and number 22, so there isn't going to be much, and they're very skill wise. They should be very similar
right,
because they're pretty much in the same place. You know, they're. But I would like to see O'Day move on because I've seen him fight before. I like the way he fights. I like the choices of strikes that he chooses, the way he puts his combinations together. I'm very impressed. Charles Johnson, will he be able to a W? I don't know, but I feel there will be a very good matchup here because Charles is from Tiger Muay Thai,
right,
and them boys they usually come with some good skill. So I'm
yeah.
looking forward to seeing this as possible one of the options for fight of the night. These two, they're gonna bring it.
I
They're
dig
gonna
it
bring
too
it, and I see a split decision victory.
for Odie.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go with Odie. Split
Okay.
decision.
Well, I mean, if it's a fight of the night contender, just to make it interesting, I'm going to go with Charles Johnson.
Yeah,
And again, nothing against Ode at all.
it's
I just
definitely worth 50-50.
yeah,
This
we'll do
particular
that.
matchup. It's worth it.
Uh, yeah. So then we got Victor Martinez, 13-4,
The
going
brick.
up against the Monkey King, Jordan Levitt. I still haven't figured out Jordan Levitt. I don't. He's like what,
He's a
fourth
jiu-jitsu
generation.
guy. He's a very good jiu-jitsu guy. That's what he is. He is
I
definitely not a
just
striker. He's a very good jiu-jitsu guy, and he's still on his way to developing. He still needs to build strength and power in his body. He's very soft because he's one of the pajama jiu-jitsu guy. Um,
yes.
um, I think he has way more experience than his opponent from Texas. Victor Martinez is going to have to knock him out to win, and I don't see that happening. I see Jordan actually submitting this fella no later than the third round.
Check this out though. I'm just looking over at Victor Martinez's record.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
he lost a split decision to the aforementioned Eric Ghost Pepper Gonzalez
Okay.
at Combate 6. Right,
Okay. Okay.
and then beat Jacob Little Badger Rosales. That's that's a tough
Saying
motherfucker.
something. That's saying
Yeah,
something.
that's. I mean, to me, Jacob Rosales. Jesus Christ, that's you pack a lunch when you're fucking
Yeah,
fighting that guy. You
that's
know,
saying something because
yeah.
he brings
So
it.
yeah, what I was saying about like, dude, if you're gonna like the new whenever the fucking new UFC video game comes out,
Yeah,
and like you would think that Jordan Levitt gets in the game, but like who the fuck other than Jordan Levitt is going to do motion capture for Jordan Levitt? That dude is so odd, different. I don't know what the fucking adjective
flamboyant.
something. He's something. He's definitely something. So I don't know. Yeah, Jordan Levitt obviously had UFC experience, but then again, like, okay, what's like we all know the fucking slam knockout, right? And
Right,
he
right,
fucking uh, drop it like it's hot right after, right? But like
right.
he lost to Patty fucking Pimblett in his last fight,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Patty,
and
Patty
not
is a Patty's a decent grappler. He just talks too much.
yeah, but like you said, Jordan was a fucking pajama jiu-jitsu guy, right? Well, Patty Pimblett, fucking eats more shots than I don't know who. I don't
Good
even know
guys
what
get
the fuck.
caught, man. Good grapplers get caught all the time, bro.
Yeah.
They get caught all the time, especially when you have punches and knees and elbows included in the scenario. The high probability of slipping goes higher. So, but Jordan's gonna beat this fella. He's not
Okay.
going to fight him where he's comfortable. He's going
Yeah.
to clinch him up, put him on the fence, take him to the ground if he can. He's gonna slow the match down, not let this Victor Martinez get off. That's gonna be the path to victory. Take away his strikes, his 1-2s, and all those other punches,
Yeah.
and just wear him down with the clinch work, the dirty boxing, and eventually take him to the ground and submit him in the third.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
I see another split decision type performance though.
okay.
So
I'm going with the Monkey King too.
okay.
Nothing against Victor, but like this is a very stylistic matchup, right? When
Mm-hmm.
you talking about Victor Martinez, beating Jacob Rosales, well, you would, it's a very like punchy style, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jordan Levitt can neutralize that pretty well. So
Mm.
I also going with the Monkey King.
Okay.
He's odd. He's definitely
Very,
odd,
very.
very odd, but it's okay. I'm odd too. So it's there's levels to this shit, and Jordan Levitt's got that fucking level. He's levitating. Levitt is levitating, is what I'm saying.
Mm.
In them levels. Gabriel Fernandez 8-1 against Jasmine Jusdavicius
Mm-hmm.
from Canada. Is 7-2. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't blame Canada. I never blame Canada. I love Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing a black blue sweater. And she's from Niagara Top Team. I've never fucking heard of that ever. But one thing
Mm-hmm.
that Jasmine does have is a win over Kay Hansen, and that happens in the UFC. She beat her by unanimous decision, but lost to Elise Reed. Um, Elise Reed, obviously UFC veteran,
Mm-hmm.
but that happens at CFFC.
Mm-hmm.
Where fucking CM Punk does the MMA commentary, and
Mm-hmm.
dude loses a finger at the ECW arena. That
Mm-hmm.
CFFC, Cage Fury Fighting Championship. So that's that. In terms of Gabriela Fernandez, let's see if she's 8-1 from Brazil. I mean, I haven't seen her, so this might be her UFC debut. Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah, because when she does make get her fight stateside, she fights for LFA. That was LFA 111, 132, and 143 respectively.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, all of those are actually in Brazil. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, nothing. Ed Soares, has something, right? Because Ed Soares, a longtime manager of guys like Anderson Silva, like a lot of the fucking Brazilian fighters, a lot of the people that you consider the greatest of all times, I consider the greatest of all time. Well, Ed Soares manages them, owns Black House MMA, and it owns LFA, right? So he's got a way in figuring out how people can, from Brazil can come here and fight. So that's that. But the catch-22 is like Gabriel Fernandez doesn't have the names that Jasmine has. So even though they're LFA veterans and what have you, I'm actually going with Jasmine.
I'm also going with Jasmine, man. Jasmine Juice the Vicious. Let's
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
You got
Kid
Ghost
Vicious.
Pepper for the next one. You
Yeah.
got
We already
Ghost
talked
Pepper. I
about
got
that one.
Trevor Peaks.
Yeah. And now I guess we'll go to the Battle of the Canadians. 9-1 Johan Lanes. Lanes?
White
Fuck it.
Lion.
Yeah, there you go.
The White Lion.
Against Mike Malo, 8-1-1 is proper Mike. I love it because proper Malo, the play on words. I love play on words. But he basically KO'd Mickey Gall in his last UFC fight. He took a grappling match at Fury Pro Grappling 6 against Trevin Giles, who's a UFC luminary, right? Gets KO'd by Hakeem Dawodu at World Series of Fight back in 2014. So if you're fighting like fucking World Series of Fight, is not even World Series of Fight anymore. It's fucking PFL, right? So you've been in the game quite a while if you fought on fucking World Series of Fight. So there's that. It looks like he also trains at Team Alpha Males along with, I guess, House of Champions in Canada. Johan, any interesting? I know he's been in for a while, but Darren Weeks split decision on the undercard of Diaz Ferguson. There's not a lot of names, so I'm gonna flip a coin. I dig that they're both Canadian, so it's a battle.
I'll get the other one. I'll get the other one of your pick.
Okay, I'm gonna go with proper Mike Malo because I just like that the fucking play on words. Proper Malo, got it.
For me, then
That's
for me. It's gonna be a close fight. They're both 6'1", 6'1". The reach advantage is non-existent, so they're gonna have to bang it out and see which is the best Canadian. So I'll go 50-50 with you, most definitely. Johan is my guy. Let's roll.
There we go. We got actually what is it?
Tatiana Suarez, baby.
Yes, the returning Tatiana Suarez, 8-0, former Ultimate Fighter champion, going up against Montana De La Rosa, who's 12-7-1. Montana trains at a Court McGee's Elevation Fight team. Lost to Macy Barber, Ariane Lipsky. She's had an up and down record. I think she's the perfect person to fight Tatiana Suarez because I think it would be a good win for her if she beats a former Ultimate Fighter champion, even though it's 3 years removed from Tatiana Suarez's last fight in the UFC, which was, let me get some. Let's see. Tatiana Suarez in the UFC last time she fought was Nina Nunes, right? And Nina Nunes wasn't even Nina Nunes. Nina was still Arsenov, right? That was back in 2019, and obviously she's had trouble with her knees. So there's that. So this is a litmus test for Tatiana Suarez. All those fucking years of wrestling, kind of caught up with her fucking knees, right? So, I don't know. I want to go with Tatiana.
In these days of TRT and all this other stuff, stem cells and all this stuff, Tatiana is gonna be back and she's gonna be in full effect. She's gonna come in there and cut through this girl like a hot knife through butter. Tatiana End of the first round, she wins.
Wow. Okay. Because Anderson Silva did the same thing. I mean, obviously Anderson Silva older, but I don't know. I don't know. But I want to believe Tatiana Suarez. Uh,
She's got it. She
yeah, man.
still got it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Big guys. We got Augusta Sakai, 15-5-1 of Brazil against the 9-4 Dantel Mays. I'm going with Augusto. I think Dantale is kind of one-dimensional.
Dantali.
Uh, yeah, Lord Kong.
Yeah.
I and not to say that. Not to
He
say
has
that.
no ground game, bro. Say it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No ground
He's
game.
a let me bang, bro.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah,
He is not a complete fighter.
yeah,
He's good enough to make it into the UFC due to his
right.
striking. His striking is decent. His striking is good. But these guys aren't going to strike with him, especially when they know that he has no ground game. He will be dragged into deep waters where he will drown, and Sakai will break his 4-fight losing streak and get back on track. So that's what's going to happen. That's how I see it. That's how he sees it. So let's go.
Yeah,
We both have Sakai on this
hell yes.
victory.
Cool. And we're at the co-main event of the evening. We got Brendan All In Allen, 20-5, against
I'm all
Andre
in.
Muniz, who's
Mm-hmm.
23-4. Muniz, man, on the first step out picture, I mean, he's 33 years old. He looked like fucking, I don't know, what's RDA's dad? It's weird. But in terms of Muniz, his last win was against Uriah Hall. He's also beaten Eric Anders via armbar, Jacare with an inverted armbar. Holy shit. Petros Fabinski. God, fucking Muniz has some fucking wins here. But
Yes, he
also,
does.
Brendan Allen, man. He's got some fucking big names. We're talking about Sam Alvey, Jacob McClune, Christoph Jaco was his last fight. Ian Heinisch, Tom Breeze, Kevin Holland. But he's been in there forever. I mean, homeboy fought fucking, well, not, he's a tenured young vet because he fought Moses Murrieta at LFA 61 and beat Moses by fucking unanimous decision. So Jesus Christ, man. I don't know, man. I really want to get your take on it.
They're both complete fighters.
Yeah.
But one is extremely more dangerous than the other.
Yeah.
Andre Muniz is my guy to win this particular match. His grappling will be better. His power is better. Putting together the hands and feet combination will be much better with Muniz. All fingers are pointing towards Muniz. Brandon Allen is a phenomenal fighter as well. He's very good. But Muniz has seen stiffer competition, and he's happened to beat them. So smart money goes with Muniz, and he's number 10 in the ranking. He's a top 10er going against the top 16. So do the math.
There you go. And, if we're doing Scott Steiner math, he's got 22 and 3/3 chance of winning. Oh, yes. All right. We are at the main events of the evening. We have the 29-9 Nikita Krylov of Ukraine going up against the 21-7 Ryan Spann. Let's look at Spann's wins. He's Superman because he's got a big old Superman thing on his chest. Right on. I don't think it's the best of jobs in terms of the tattoo stuff, but but he's beaten Luis Henrique, Nogueira. Holy shit. He KO'd Nogueira in 2019. Guillotine Devin Clark. Beat the brakes via split decision off of Sam Alvey, Misha Krukinov, in Cute Labia. Or Kutilava, but Cute Labia. And the former UFC champion, as well as UFC title contender, Dominic Reyes. And he beat him with a fucking jab that had fucking Dominic Reyes stumbling. Holy shit. Yeah, I forgot about fucking Spann, but now I get it. I fucking get it.
Mm.
Nikita Krylov. Holy
Mm-hmm.
shit, the minor. He has his two most recent wins are against Volkan Ozdemir and Alexander Gustafsson, right? Those are
Mm-hmm.
two light heavyweight title contenders, right?
Yep.
Who fought two of arguably the greatest light heavyweights of all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Volkan fought DC, Daniel Cormier, right? And Gustafsson fought John Jones. And, again, we said he thought he fucking was going to, he had the answers to fucking John Jones. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also beat Johnny Walker, lost to Glover Teixeira, beat OSP, Ovincent Pugh, lost to Jan Blachowicz, but beat Fabio Maldonado. Fabio Maldonado, the guy that fucking fought. You know about Fabio Maldonado?
Yes. He took a beating in
By
Russia or something
Fedor,
like that. Yeah. Took a
which is
massive beating.
theoretically Fedor's only live fight on UFC Fight Pass. That's wild.
Russia.
Fight Night Global, that shit was wild.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like you UFC Fedor never fought at the UFC, but he fought a UFC Fight Pass.
On his terms.
That's wild. Oh, that's so wild. I don't know. So who you got?
I got Nikita Krylov, man. He's got the equalizer, which is the ground game.
Yeah.
Spann is a very good knockout artist, but this particular fella, he's a complete fighter. He's complete on the ground, standing, mixing it up with the hands and feet. He's okay to do that. He will find the proper time to shoot. He will shoot. He will clinch. He will do all that to limit Ryan Spann's frontal assault. And he's going to take him down, and he's going to finish him on the ground. And it's
Yeah.
that simple. It's a 5-round match, but this will be over in no less than
2.
three.
Okay.
By
All
the
right.
third round, it's over.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with Krylov as well. But I will put this in here. Um, what if fucking Spann does some fucking Francis shit, right? It's like, oh, he's a power puncher or whatever the fuck, and then he goes in and goes, I'm gonna grapple him, and then
Mm-hmm.
Krylov was fucking banking for a striker, and then whatever, and gets like thwarted. So I mean, we've seen it happen in the highest levels, right? Francis
Mm-hmm.
and Ngannou, or it was Francis and Ngannou, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I'm just saying, like, we're post that, so don't be surprised if fucking Spann's fucking takedown defense and all that shit is gonna be off the charts. So there's that. Right before we go, I missed this, but Guru the Pig says thoughts on the Megan Anderson, Lorosenko, and Kraus affair right before the gambling controversy was Kraus smashing both of them, and that is so I know nothing of it. Honest to goodness. I'm gonna put it in the Google machine right now. Obviously, Lorosenko did train at Glory MMA. As well as Megan Anderson, right? Former Invicta world champion. And as of, I'm pulling this up from. Well, I'll let you take the pick. Should I do Sportskeeda? Yeah, Sportskeeda is the most reputable one of the Google stuff, right?
Okay.
So basically, it's saying that I'm gonna summarize it. What did former UFC fighter Megan Anderson say about Lorosenko and James Krause? Former UFC women's featherweight said in a now deleted tweet, discussed her latest loss against Amanda Nunes and her issues with former team Glory MMA. Anderson essentially blamed the coaches of Glory MMA for not giving her the attention she required in the training camp for her fight against Nunes. And then a screenshot of an exchange between a user and Anderson in the YouTube comment section. And the basically it was a tweet of I guess it's the media MMA. It says everyone in the comments does how much Megan threw her coaches under the bus. She blamed her loss to Nunes on Glory MMA. Meanwhile, Brandon Moreno is thriving in at Glory, right? Because Brandon Moreno went down to uh, Kansas City, right, to fight there, right?
Right,
Megan
right.
Anderson replied, "When you receive only one 30-minute pad session a week for the entire 7 months I was in camp and received no other individual coaching, the one picking my training partners or even coaching me through those rounds the entire time, when no matter how many times I asked to sit down and talk a game plan, an excuse was always given for why it never happened. Then it's not throwing them under the bus. I'm saying exactly what happened. Now, Brandon had a personalized training session every single day whenever he traveled for the UFC Spanish broadcasts. The coach traveled with him to make sure that had personalized trainings at all times. If you're telling me that one 30-minute pad session a week is enough for a world title fight against the greatest female fighter of all time is enough coaching, then you're delusional. But I and then Anderson also hinted that Krause and UFC analyst Laura Sanko were involved in a romantic relationship. Allegations were made that Megan Anderson took to social media to voice her frustrations and whatever. So basically, Doc Phillips on Twitter says, "Imagine going to Glory MMA of all places for proper coaching, and then somehow sleeping with James Krause. Lord have mercy." And Megan Anderson said, "You should look at Laura Sanko about that." Actually, so they were, yeah, they were good friends. Anderson and Sanko hosted an MMA podcast together, but they stopped in 2019. Krause has been married to Chanel Krause for well over a decade, while Laura married Nathan Sanko in 2012. All grown folks. They're all grown folks. Now, if Megan Anderson is, what she's saying is true about her training sessions leading up to Amanda Nunes, yeah,
That
that's the
sucks.
fucking, yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't suck. It's because you remember how much, like, you cost her career, realistically, right?
She got her ass
And,
whooped.
huh?
She got her
Yeah,
ass whooped.
but you remember how much, like, Megan Anderson for fucking 2 years, ever since she won the Invicta World title, right? Before she was even in the UFC, they were like, "Oh shit, she's gonna," because they needed people to fucking fight Nunes. Nunes was starching everybody, right? So yeah, I mean, in terms of the affair shit, whatever, the people who need to know, and the people who don't need to know don't need to know. This is all
That's
grown
right.
folks. They're all married, and also not everybody has a traditional monogamous relationship or whatever.
We
Whatever
hope they were
they do,
all happy.
yeah, exactly. Just whatever. But what I will say in terms of like the coaching and shit like that, that's fucked up. And we're like, oh, Megan should have left. Well, you're gonna go in the fucking world title fight and go to like American top team. Well, Nunes trains there. Oh, you're gonna go to fucking Jackson Wink. Okay, you're gonna do that like 6 weeks before, after you've trained at Glory MMA since you moved from fucking Australia, right? And you have that game plan. You're there for a reason. You have your training partners. You all that shit, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the biggest fight of your fucking life that has been built up since you were in another promotion, right? Won their fucking title, right? Has been built up, built up, built up, built up, and then here we fucking are. And then you're gonna go change coaches. You're gonna change ideologies in 6 weeks and get their entire game plan. Doesn't happen.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind. I mean, again, I don't know, whatever, but like in terms of professional shit, that if it is true, and I don't know if it's true or not because these are just allegations, right? We don't know Kraft's story on it. Uh, Obviously, we're getting Megan's side of it, right? So it's unfair to weigh in when there's only one side of the story being told. But then again, it's Krause who is being Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like it just until I hear different, I feel like I side with Megan a little bit here. But again, I don't know. I don't know, so I don't know. But what we do know, or what we should know, is how they can find Voodoomaximus on the interwebs. And how can they do that, fine sir?
Everywhere Voodoomaximus. Everywhere Voodoomaximus. Facebook, Instagram, Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, the good old Instagram. Did I say that already? Yeah.
That's all right. Well,
Yeah.
I, being the good brother that I am, I've linked literally all of that right in the description of the video. So if you're watching this, you know how to find him. Also, we're gonna have a Voodoomaximus sign up for Linktree, so all of those things will be nice and concise. I could just put it in one tab.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds
Yeah,
like a
hell
plan.
yes. But I have a Linktree, and this is not putting myself over. Again, he's former UFMA champion. I'm a MMA champion. But with that all being said, I'm according to Woods. You can find all the stuff right down here. Just thank you guys for watching. And also, our good brothers and some good sisters over at bodyslam.net. You go ahead and follow them, subscribe to the channels everywhere that you can. Subscribe to Voodoo in the Woods, obviously, on all the channels. And we will see you later with more Voodoo in the Woods.